Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Inspiring Leaders and Leadership. I am Girish Bindal, the Chief Marketing Officer at Advantage Club. And today we have with us Ms. Seepika Singhal. She's the Senior Director, Global Talent Rewards, Brillio. Welcome, Seepika.
Thank you, Girish. Thank you so much for having me. It's a delight and honor to be here.
It's a pleasure for us. So this podcast series is about meeting our, loved leaders and knowing their journey and learning a little from them. And before we get started, I would like to know a little more about you, your journey. How did you get to this position?
Journey has been filled with twists and turns, and definitely, if I start with the beginning, I am born and brought up in a very humble and grounded business class joint family setup. Have never ever thought in my childhood that I will end up in HR as a profession. So I was good in studies, but always wanted to prove myself to uh, whichever thing I pick up, whether it is academics or co-curricular. So we were 13 people in cohabiting in one single household, and all the key decisions were taken by head of the family that used to my grandfather, and those were my formative years. And I take a lot of pride in saying that I've imbibed all the values that have shaped me today, the values of coexisting, adaptability, respect, that has come from the upbringing that I was in. So this has given me continuous desire to prove myself, help me grow. And when I was in a small town, when there were career choices were very limited. So being even a good student, I had only two options that everyone expected me to do, either engineering or medicine. But I was kind of sort of challenger in that status quo. I wanted to do something different. I didn't know at that time what different it could be. So, but my parents trusted in me. I said that I want to be there where a lot of innovative and creative minds will be there. So I wanted to come to Delhi University and do my graduation in humanities from here. And I pursued that, despite everyone around me saying that if toppers like you are not doing engineering or medicine, who else will? Why are you not writing the engineering entrance examination? I said, no, I'm not interested to do whatever everyone is doing. That's not my cup of tea. Uh, I came to university with a mindset of doing civil services. But eventually, I saw that towards the final years of my graduation, career and management is something that attracted me more. And I then this journey started to explore how the admissions take place and what MBA is all about and all. And I appeared in all management exams and taking up admission, and finally ended up taking admission in Sriram College of Commerce for
Awesome.
doing my masters. So this was my educational journey, and this is a very interesting concept that I share with very few of my folks, that I learned this concept of return on investment very early in my life.
Okay.
And I got this admissions in RCMJ, Hyderabad, MIT, Law School, all these colleges. But I thought, let me see, what is the end outcome? So line of sight was precisely very clear to me. And I compared the statistics of placement. I saw that, all these, the students who come out of these colleges, they land up nearly in the similar companies at the similar packages.
Yeah.
So I thought, why I'm investing in a college where the teachers, the kind of environment is also the university environment, SRCC being the prestigious one at very nominal fee.
Yeah.
It was minuscule in comparison to what other colleges were charging, and including the travel and everything, accommodation. So I thought that if I have to end up getting a package of similar lines, why
True.
to invest more? So return on my investment, I didn't want it to end up in no from my first salary start giving EMIs. So
True.
I thought, let me do this way. And then I was fortunate to be selected from the campus only. Very first few students who got campus placement in the beginning of the journey, I got. Then HCL happened to me. Very fulfilling 5.5 years of differentiated experience in HCL technologies, uh, wherein I got a lot of leadership positions, work on multiple geographies, multiple assignments, and different roles. Then from there, I moved to Capgemini. Capgemini was totally being, international tech organization, from
Yeah.
an IT pure play Indian company to a Capgemini was completely different context altogether. And the geography for me also was different. There I was taking care of North America as a compensation leader. And post Capgemini, again, fulfilling years of learning and delivering and proving myself in that organization. Then I acquired the leadership position in Luminous Electric, wherein I was leading a rewards function. That was again a kind of challenge for myself because from a IT setup company to a manufacturing, dealing with blue collar employees, white collar employees, and Indian payroll, and coming up with benefits. You have to when think about policy, think about the blue collar worker who is able to understand that policy. So that was totally a challenger in me who inspired me to take up that position, and I enjoyed that also very seamlessly. Worked with the leaders very closely with the leaders and created differentiated rewards platform and uh, brought in experiential R&R practices at that area in Luminous. So I was instrumental in bringing experience-based rewarding in Luminous at that time. So from there, yes, moving the employee EVP, working on EVP in Luminous, and then working in ST Media, which is totally a different company, very creative people, different talent mindset. From ST Media, I moved to R1 RCM, which was a healthcare captive and very huge presence, large presence in India as well as US. So that was totally different context because I've never ever worked in captive world. So all these differentiated experiences, and then finally I am in Brillio Technologies, a very insurgent organization, new age, working on digital superpowers, AI, and dealing with very talented employees base here. So I'm feeling grateful that whatever opportunities I have got in my career journey has made me what I am today. And I happen to learn with the leaders across geographies and a lot of industry, different industry segments to work in. And one thing that keeps me honest is because the context is different. So one thing that you have maybe created as a success in one company may not be replicated in other. So it always keeps you challenged, keeps you continuously engaged, and I keep reinventing myself with these challenges.
Super. Great. I think it's a fantastic journey. And even at a young age, you decided to figure out the ROI and pick a college. I think that's very inspirational. And even the choice of your career from a IT giant, from HCL to Capgemini to manufacturing, and then to again healthcare and now Brillio is so inspiring. Thank you for sharing this with us. Um, Challenges are sort of our stepping stones to success. And you did mention, and you've moved from so many different industries and companies. Can you recall any time where you had faced major challenges and how did you overcome them, or any part where you felt, you had to face failure and then you overcome and came out strong? Anything that you want to share with our viewers?
I would say that in my profile, which is managing rewards, right? A lot of projects and initiatives that we do, everything is managing change and managing challenge, right? It's a challenge in itself. Any change, if you talk about, even if it's a change of your workplace, or you have to ask somebody to change your seat from this to that. So even that small amount of change brings, unnerves you because we are all as individual like status quo. My role itself is so challenging because it's change management, right? Whether I am designing a comprehensive pay program design, or introducing any holistic benefit, or coming up with any performance program, everything requires people to change their current way of working, motivates them to imbibe something better, something new, or changing the way they are working on things. So that these challenges include a lot of small challenges, whether it is balancing budgets, uh, adapting the programs to changing market dynamics, because you have thought something but the market dynamics has changed suddenly, and then entire planning has gone for a toss. What will you do then? And addressing one continuous challenge that we all face in the field of rewards is addressing the issues of pay equity, pay fairness. Right? Nobody is ever satisfied with their compensation. So, and this should not be. And I am a firm believer that why should you be satisfied? It's a means to reach growth, right? So you can't make people satisfied with the compensation, but yes, you can create processes that are fair and equitable. So that is in its challenge itself for any organization that I work with, to bring in that kind of sensitivity. and increasing adoption to your programs, right? Uh, Leadership adoption, people adoption, and bringing in alignment with leadership and stakeholders. Because, and most importantly, the sensitization towards the need for change.
Mhm.
Because, whatever the status quo is, we are working with a lot of people in the organization who may have been there, have done that in certain way. At an appropriate time, whatever the companies have done, that may be right in that context, in that time period.
Yeah.
But as the change scenario is changing outside, external, if we see outside in perspective, a lot of things are changing. So bringing in that perspective and being able to bring everyone on board with you, that creating that stakeholder analysis alignment, that makes you work in a challenging environment. And I would not call it a failure per se, but sometimes, if you are always on your toes and you keep your water testing the programs that you're trying to do, then it is not a failure in a sense. It will always be, you pause, you analyze the situation, you see that it is working or not. There are a lot of visions that you have around you. Your HR business partners are there. So senior leaders are there whom you can take the inputs from, that whether it will work or not work, right? You can keep testing yourself. And if you think that this may not work, and be open to be flexible, be open to listening to other people's point of view, then we redefine. Actually, I've worked on redefining and re-implementing the strategy that may be successful. So that way you can reduce the chances of failure and keep experimenting with what you want to achieve, right? So that is something that I would add to. And maybe, like every warrior in a war has some astras or superpowers.
Yeah.
So my superpowers that have has helped me in dealing with such challenges will be, I always try to keep myself updated on industry trends,
Nice.
and I have very strong data we have at our disposals. So I try to leverage the data to take informed decisions. How
Mhm.
does it, through the data, I can prove that this can bring an ROI into that investment, and why business leaders can be, assured of the outcomes that we plan to get from these decisions, and creating an environment of trust and transparency in the system and in the process. That is also very important, Astra, I would say.
Yeah.
And if you align all the stakeholders, then chances of failure gets reduced a lot. And finally, and most importantly, is the communication part. So it's very, very important for dealing with any kind of challenge, whether it was a, pre-COVID and then dealing with COVID and pandemic. And communication is the only thing that has helped us sail through. And in post-COVID era, also post-pandemic era, any new thing that we are doing, whether it is asking people to come to workplace, open communication and socialization of the thought process, reinforcing the culture, that plays a very, very important part in dealing with these challenges and being successful.
Great. I think that's a very, very good pragmatic approach of, dealing with challenges and a very positive take on life. I'm so glad that you shared with us. All our viewers will be so glad to take points from there. So, like you said, you always have to have a brave front. You're always fighting, but there is always a support system which is backing you up. So, what's your support system? Who's been your greatest mentor or a support system that has kept you going and made you reach where you are today?
That's a interesting and difficult one at the same time, Girish, because I believe that in my quest for excellence, there's so much to learn in every stage, in every role, that it's very difficult to zero down or rely on one mentor or one supporter, right? So you have to have a cohort of supporters, uh, bouquet of people, an army of people whom you can look up to. So I have imbibed this value that I carefully observe
Mhm.
people around me, whether it is my juniors, subordinates, peers, seniors, teachers, and you can grab some good things from anybody around you, right? So and I look up to these people for their strengths and
Mhm.
see how they have handled a particular situation. And if I find that they have a better way that
Mhm.
I was missing out, and I keep learning from it. I keep adding that to my dictionary or my behavior, and I try to follow that. And one constant supporter, I would say, is I'm a believer in Bhagavad Gita's philosophy, and I think that has answers to every dilemma that you come across. But if I have to name one person who has been out and out throughout supporter, that would be my husband, who will is a pillar of strength for me and who brings in a lot of psychological safety for me. And I think he's the biggest critique also. So I typically resort to him in case I hit any crossroads for advice. So that he will be my biggest supporter in that case.
Super. That's so nice. And that's a great approach to have, and learning from everybody, from your peers, from your juniors, from your seniors. I think that's the way to be. So, you've seen a lot of changes happening. You were mentioning that your job itself is challenging because there are different employee needs, and these employee needs keep changing. Are there any steps or tips that you want to give to other HR professionals on how to address these changing needs of these employees?
See, the role of HR today is has changed drastically, and we all have seen how it has transformed. And that HR has been the only function who every function holder, business person has relied upon to bring about that to make people sail through difficult times. The challenges before our HR leaders today are multifold. I think there are many challenges, not a single one. Whether it is making multi-generational workforce work together, uh, whether it is embracing diversity in workplaces and creating inclusive workplaces, or it is enabling people to adapt technology at much faster pace, which has never been precedented. The speed of change is so fast today that to gel with that and make your people adapt to those technological changes, there is this element of fear what artificial intelligence will do. Managing all these perceptions, these fears, right? Also, at the same time, managing engagement and productivity where multiple work arrangements are in place, whether it is hybrid, remote, fully in office, and all these coexist side by side.
Yeah.
So, and HR is supposed to be a business enabler and the change champion all the time, whether the external environment is changing or not. And there is a age-old challenge that HR leaders has to, role that they have to play in attracting and retaining the top employees or critical folks at all levels. So that has always been there. Now, to address these challenges, HR leaders have to wear multiple hats. They should keep in mind that employee today is no longer belonging to the school of thought of conformity. Rather, I say that employees are today coming from the challenger mindset. They're very curious. They have access to information. They are questioning their status quo. They have ample choices about their career. They are curious about their well-being, about what is the culture of the company, whether their futures are secure or not. And I think this is a good problem to have. We wanted our employees like that. We wanted the challenger mindset. So, uh, you know, one thing HR leaders should keep in mind, and we all have to stay tuned to that, that no one size approach fits everyone,
That's
right?
true.
Every individual is coming from a different context, and we have to create an environment that respects and embrace everyone equally. An environment where the uniqueness of individual is okay to have, right? We appreciate that we are dealing with every individual with the same warmth. So the programs that we are creating is not unique to a particular Gen Z or a gig worker, but it is taking into consideration of those baby boomers or Gen X employees also. So create more choices is maybe the solution. So the moment we create more choices, we enable people to pick whatever is suitable for them. We are creating, somebody like when designing benefits, we think sometimes we make the mistake of thinking that we can think of for everyone. But whatever you are thinking for the individual may not be his need at that point in time. Every individual may be in different life stages. So someone will be looking for a good lifestyle, whereas someone is looking for getting married
Yeah.
and in some spouse benefit. Someone is planning to have a family, so they are looking for child benefits. Someone has elderly parents to take care of. They are looking for what kind of dependent care benefits we have. So if you create more choices in while staying true to the and HR leaders also complain that we have limit of budgets that keep us grounded. We are limited by those things. So if we think beyond that, that whatever is possible in the realms of your scope of work, and there are many things which we are empowered, and we are in those spots, those places that we can influence people. We can influence the business decision makers. So if we start doing donning that kind of hat, that you are in the influencer space also, so a lot of change can happen with that mindset. So I think that is something that HR leaders should always keep in mind to be able to meet all these multifold challenges.
Superb. So let me get a little specific. And the reason why I'm asking is that, you've made your a name for yourself for your great strategies in employee engagement rewards. And Brillio has become an employer of choice. So is there anything specific that you want to tell how you have innovated on your employee engagement programs at Brillio to create a better employee experience at your workplace?
See, I think that we are still, we are working towards it, and everything that we are doing, we are trying to uh, make it better than a year before. So there are a lot of things that we are working on, whether it is creating an environment where an employee is free to take up his career choices, which may not be limited to his current role that he is in. So we are creating a complete talent universe and a tool that we are calling Career Compass, which enables the employee to see all the job roles that are available in the organization. And he's free to, aspire for any cross-functional role as well. And there are every role we have come up with a job architecture in place, which is a global job architecture, as well as there is a competency framework that has been associated with every role. Every unique role requires a set of technical, functional, and legal competencies. Every role also requires a set of proficiency to be able to do that role effectively. So while an individual can assess where he is currently having, what kind of proficiencies in the current role he's having, he's also able to see what is the gap between the aspired role proficiency that he may want to do.
Nice.
So with that gap analysis, there is a lot of L&D work, learning and development initiatives that we are taking that helps the coaching, the mentoring, the on-the-job assignments that will help the employee to bridge those gaps in the proficiencies that are there in the aspired role. So that is the enablement of capability enablement side. At the same side, on the benefits part, we are celebrating the uniqueness in employee. We recently launched BU benefit program globally, and that is instead of when we thought this year might be tough on the budgeting side, we worked on creating more choices. We have brought in a lot of services for employees, whether it is telemedicine, whether it is financial wellness. So recently we have started a program on financial wellness that enables employees to withdraw some part of the salary anytime in the month. We thought maybe whatever all the good pay packages we are giving, but despite that, maybe everyone's needs are unique. So whatever is the context of an individual, why is he falling short before the end of the month? So if it's just by the click of a button, within few seconds, you can withdraw some portion of your salary if you are in some need. You can also take the salary top of it. There's a need some financial emergencies, some materialistic emergencies you are in need of. At the same time, you strengthened the overall insurance, insured benefits and non-insured benefits. We've provided a lot of add-on benefits, which is in the form of pregnancy care, elder care programs, parental insurances, also some OPD insurances and OPD benefits we have for the first time with Brillio. And because we always, keep listening to our employees, and it's not just one-way traffic. We listen, we ponder upon what can be done on it, and we go back with them with the solutions that we can do in the context that we are in currently. So based on the employee feedback, we have come up with a lot of employee benefit program Now, if on engagement side, a lot of town halls, increasing in communication focus has been increased a lot on the employee communication side. On the R&R practice also, we are in the process of revamping the complete R&R practices currently in the organization. So far, we have been very generously doing the reward and recognition, but it is still leadership driven. What is happening is some leaders are very proactive in doing the recognitions, and some managers are really proactive, while some do appreciate employees, but they're not able to express it in a way. And that is the first moment of truth for an employee, the way the manager is dealing with his team, right? So those experiences we are working on. We are working on creating first time manager trainings and first time manager uh, programs, so that the cultural sentiment that we have in Brillio as an organization, which is very insurgent mindset and entrepreneurial mindset in the organization, so that is replicated in every layer of the organization. So that is the belief, cultural belief that we are working on. Also, we have a very important value of we care. So true to the sentiment of we care, whatever we are doing, we keep that sentiment as a guiding North Star that keeps guiding us, that it's like employee care that we have to take care of, not only for the employees, but for their dependents as well.
That's nice. That's a very comprehensive benefit package that you've created. And even at Advantage Club, what we've seen, and we work with 1,000+ corporates across the globe, that you have to give them a choice, and that's when actual utilization of a program begins. I think that's a wonderful work that you've done. We're almost at time, but I need one last thing from you. It's like a quotable quote that I need from you, a mantra that you want to give to the young HR professionals, the HR leaders of tomorrow, that you want to leave them with and say, hey, listen, follow this and you will become a leader tomorrow.
As I've said, that HR leaders or HR folks today are in a very empowered position. They are the change agents, right? So we should utilize that spot very effectively. If not directly, use your superpowers to influence people around you to make that change happen, right? If you're determined to do the things differently, you can and you will be able to make a difference in whichever domain of HR you're working for. And instead of asking what organization support I can get, you should ask that how you can add value. And if you try to stay relevant and stay hungry to do more, to keep learning from your employees, from your peers, from your surroundings, and what better best practices other companies are doing, then you can always and obviously make a difference. So be excited to deliver results and outcomes, and be in that till the time you're in that spot, utilize it to the full value and full potential of your own self. So keep adding the value and keep learning. That would be my mantra.
Super. Thank you so much. This session has been so wonderful. There are so many nuggets of wisdom that we can get from them. And I'm sure our viewers will love this. Thank you for taking out the time to speak to us and share your journey with our listeners. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Girish. Pleasure has always been mine, and I really enjoyed being on your show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.